Hello, I'm glad you're here and welcome to the Game-conomist podcast, a place where you can learn anything and everything about game companies as well as what's happening in the economy. This week we'll be covering our main story, Game-flation, as well as Rockstar Games, stock effects of the FTC and Microsoft lawsuit, and so much more. As always, we hope you enjoy this week's episode and thank you for tuning in. Inflation. It's a word that's been thrown around a lot this year, and it's something that's affected almost everyone. From grocery cost increases to subtle fast food price adjustments, it's something that no one can escape from right now. And while there are many reasons for these economic precedents, there was a market that was affected that didn't seem to get enough attention. That, of course, is the gaming industry. A AAA company in this industry is a company that tends to own a lot of capital in the space, such as Activision, Microsoft, Blizzard, EA, and many more. When you hear about a big game or see ads on TV for the newest title, it will most likely be from one of these companies. And when a game releases, they tend to stick to the industry standard price, which was originally $60. Video games, for most people, have been considered expensive for a while now. $60 for a game could be a gamble, especially if you aren't sure whether or not you'll enjoy the game. But now, if you go to your local retailer or eShop to purchase a game, you'll find that the $60 price is nowhere to be seen. Instead, it's a staggering $70. But if you look back to the average NES video game sold in 1990, the price was $50. In today's money, that's about $116, which sounds absolutely crazy for a video game. But then again, makes the current day price of $70 not look too bad. A lot of recognition of the price increase came when Nintendo announced in February of this year that their newest Zelda title, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, will be $70 instead of $60, which was the price of its predecessor. Nintendo, unlike other companies, stated that, quote, "The price point reflects the type of experience that fans can expect when it comes to playing this particular game," end quote. Meanwhile, other companies have increased their prices on their releases without such statements, such as Blizzard's new Diablo 4 and EA's FIFA 23. When prices fluctuate, it's because of a variety of complexities. However, in this case, it's because of supply and demand. But it's not more consumers that want video games, or even problems manufacturing them. Instead, it's the demand for programmers and creative producers. Every company in the entertainment, tech, gaming, and so on need more technical talent. Therefore, they need to have a competitive wage to incentivize more people to work for them, which in turn falls back on the price of the product itself. AAA companies also know that consumers don't mind forking over an extra $10 for a game they've been anticipating the release for. As prices increase, though, it's not an unfair assessment to assume that the quality and creativeness of a video game should increase, as do the work conditions and wages of those working on it. However, that's something we've seen fail from time to time. From EA's Battlefield 2042 and Bethesda's Redfall, these games seem to have charged a hefty price and delivered something that no one would pay for if they had known the quality of the gameplay. And yes, while bugs can be fixed and features can be added, when you have such a tough launch like those games did, companies tend to abandon it and will move on to their next project. Hopefully, though, being more careful about what they release next time. And to that, there isn't much else of an explanation to the inflation of a video game cost other than, well, inflation. But what about live service and free games made by AAA companies? How do you percent increase a cost of zero? First, let's clarify what a live service game is. A live service game is a game that's constantly being updated with new content and features that are designed to keep you engaged for as long as possible. Rather than paying for a game, beating it, then moving on, live service games tend to be free and charge you money for new content that's released or cosmetics that fit your personality or playstyle. A few examples of these games are Destiny 2, Overwatch 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, and a very popular mobile game, Clash of Clans. The existence of free games that charge money for extra content or cosmetics is a conversation for another day. For now, though, we're going to go over what companies have done with those charges. Since all of the games mentioned before are free, yet have hundreds of people working on them every day, how did they adjust to inflation? Since they can't simply increase the cost of their game from $0 to $10, that would ruin the entire monetary strategy. Instead, each company decided to do the same thing, just in different ways. Starting with Bungie, which was an independent studio bought by Sony last year for $3.6 billion, who created Destiny 2, they have a seasonal pass, which is a digital pass that grants you access to content and features for that season. Each season lasts about 3 months. To purchase the pass, it was originally 1,000 silver, which is their digital currency that you can buy for $10. But now that season pass will cost you 1,200 silver, which doesn't seem like much. However, considering you can only buy silver within increments such as $5, $10, $15, and up to $100, that means if it's your first time buying the Battle Pass, you have to get the $10 bundle as well as the $5, as it's $1 per 100 silver. And this strategy of having a digital currency with seemingly arbitrary numbers attached to the price is extremely common within free live service games. Instead of spending $10 on a piece of content that you want, instead you can buy $10 worth of a digital currency. And in that case, you can either spend it on the content you want or on anything else, giving you kind of the freedom to buy whatever you really want within that game. Nevertheless, Fortnite, who is owned and operated by Epic Games, increased the price of purchasing their virtual currency V-Bucks by around 10% in Europe and Canada, but still kept the price of their virtual pass 1,000 V-Bucks. The price for 1,000 V-Bucks went from £649 to £699 in Europe, which is roughly around $9 US, and the price in Canada went from $10.99 to $11.99. Another company, Riot Games, who's worth around $2.7 billion as of July 7th, took a different approach to adjusting the prices to their digital currency. Instead of increasing the price, they made the currency you get from purchasing worth more. Their most popular game, League of Legends, has a currency called RP. Originally, you could buy 650 RP for $5, but now that $5 value is going to get you 575 RP. That's about a 10% decrease in RP you get. And Riot Games has applied this to every bundle you can purchase, up to $100. Riot Games has yet to comment on whether or not they'll apply their price changes to their other competitive shooter, Valorant. Clash of Clans. It's probably a game that you've heard of, even if you don't game that much, and it's one of the most popular mobile games in the world. Its parent company, Supercell, has also made some changes to its monetization. Clash of Clans, like most games, has a pass as well, and per season you can purchase that pass over and over. That pass is going to cost you around $5, but because of inflation, it's gone up to $6.99. And their sister game, Clash Royale, has increased the price of their pass from $4.99 to $5.99. Clash Royale has also done something different. They added something called a Diamond Pass, which is a completely separate pass than the one you can get prior, but it's going to cost you $11.99. They say that it adds more features and can give you more bang for your buck, but ultimately the community has not responded to that very well. Tencent Holdings ADR is the parent company to Supercell as well as Riot Games, and their stock is holding steady at $43 this year despite all the economic changes to their games. Competition between companies will always be good for consumers. It gives room for growth and innovation to fight for customers' business and overall benefits the average person. This is especially important in the video game industry, as game companies with no competition can become lazy and rely too heavily on their game being the top dog without worrying too much about what other games can steal their player base. A lot of attention was brought to this topic when Blizzard's Diablo 4 released. It was another live service buildcraft game that now was a direct competitor to Destiny 2, which is another game similar in a few aspects. A buildcraft game refers to a game where your abilities are highly customizable, and the game often includes a build tree that allows players to fine-tune what their character does to a T and make the gameplay experience fully immersible. The reason this is important to know is because in December of 2022, Microsoft announced their interest in acquiring Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. The FTC, however, was quick to block this, as only a day later, the FTC took Microsoft to court with regards to Microsoft owning too much of the gaming space. Microsoft, who owns Xbox, had purchased another AAA company only a few years prior, Bethesda, for $7.5 billion, and ultimately is making their future studio titles console exclusives, meaning in order to play them, you have to have an Xbox or a PC. You couldn't play them on the rival console, PlayStation, which is owned by Sony. The FTC's argument behind the acquisition of Activision Blizzard is that Microsoft can make popular games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Diablo console exclusives, forcing consumers to purchase an Xbox if they wish to play those games on console. However, Microsoft argues the opposite. Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, says that he would love to get rid of console exclusives, but argues that Sony is to blame for such a competitive market. Sony did not respond to Satya Nadella's comments. The case is still ongoing, with an evidence hearing on August 2nd, but it's safe to assume that Microsoft will win the lawsuit and be able to acquire Activision Blizzard. Warren Buffett recently spoke out, saying that he believes Activision will go to $95 a share and that the purchase will go through. These comments came after he purchased 50 million shares after Microsoft's bid for Activision Blizzard in January of this year. Video game development is a very private and close-knit process until the company is ready to show off what they've been working on. And throughout the years, it's been harder and harder to avoid sudden content leaks in the big companies regarding their newest projects. Leaks can be caused for a variety of reasons, one of them being that some companies have so many people working there and the employees could secretly leak information regardless of signing an NDA. However, the main cause of these leaks is from outsiders hacking into their studios and stealing prototype footage or documents that explain the new content. GTA 6 had a massive leak in November of last year, confirming many rumors and speculations people had had about the game. The leak includes documents of characters and ideas, as well as over an hour footage from the early gameplay. The studio behind GTA 6, Rockstar Games, quickly tracked down and attempted to sue the hacker. However, it was soon discovered that the person had done way more than leak video game content. Arion Kurtaj at the time was 17 years old when he found to be a part of a hacker group known as Lapsus, and reportedly had stolen code from a Britain broadband company and had attempted to blackmail them for money. Him and his group asked them for $4 million or else they would leak the code and the company's trade secrets. However, Kurtaj was quickly caught and is now facing 12 charges with 3 of blackmail and 9 counts of fraud. But as recent reports came out after psychiatric evaluations, it's believed that Kurtaj is, quote, mentally unfit for trial. Currently, there's no verdict on Kurtaj's innocence or guilt. Last but certainly not least, Blizzard has announced today that Overwatch 2 will be coming to Steam August 10th. Steam, of course, is the most popular game store in the world, owned and operated by Valve Corporation. Valve is a privately traded company worth around $7.7 billion and hosts a place for a majority of AAA and indie video games to be purchased in America. We don't know yet how this will affect Activision's Blizzard stock, but we can assume that it will presumably help it grow, as they're giving more people access to their games and content. Blizzard also announced that they're going to be releasing other games on the platform, and while we don't know the exact ones yet, we can assume it'll be pretty popular ones like Diablo or maybe even World of Warcraft. And that is all the news we have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I truly hope you have a great rest of your week. Make sure to tune back next week for more information regarding Game-flation, game economics, and everything else video game related. Again, thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.